Rev up your engines!
Well, what's going wrong with Toyota, and will they get better in 2025? Of course, only time will tell. But Toyota had to replace engines in over 100,000 Tundras because they were seizing up because they didn't build them right. Then it recalled 380,000 last generation Tacomas because the rear axle wasn't screwed together correctly and can fall apart, fall off. And now transmissions are failing in their new trucks, both automatics and manual transmissions. Botched traction control software in the Corolla Cross hybrids causing power braking systems not to work right. The GR86, the little fast screamer, is blowing engine because of oil starvation. And now a couple of GR Corollas have randomly caught fire. So, I mean, obviously Toyota is having quality control problems. Are they going to turn it around? So far, 2024 has been a horrible year for them. They were always not in the news because the cars didn't break down. Now they're in the news for them breaking down. And of course, you can't know who to believe with what the problems are. For example, remember when Tundras went from V8 to V6 and I said, stupid idea, don't do it. Now the engines are blowing up, right? Well, is it really that they had a manufacturing defect that put metal shavings left behind? Or are they just wearing out and Toyota doesn't want to admit that? Well, they built them, but can't take the high revving of people driving them. The Tundra owners drove them hard, pushed them. My grandson's got one. He pushes the heck out of it. It's an old V8, runs forever. Was it a manufacturing defect or was the whole thing just the wrong design at the wrong time for the wrong vehicle? You're not going to know. You know, they have to replace 100,000 engines. Seems to me that if they're replacing 100,000 engines, there's a manufacturing process problem. The metal shavings left. Sounds fishy to me. Sounds more like the engines created metal shavings as they broke down, and there they were inside. But be that as it may, Toyota's got problems. 2025, will Toyota turn around and stop having problems, or will they have more problems? Hey, you never know these days. Time will tell. They have had problems. And people can make excuses all they want for problems. They exist, period, and they didn't exist before. Toyota had some extremely reliable engines. Didn't have hardly any problems at all. Once in a while, they had oil burning because piston rings were bad on a 08, 09 Camrys with those four-cylinder engines with bad piston rings in them. But having the engines blow up, that's another story. They're going to need to turn some stuff around, or they're going to be going the way of companies like Chrysler, where the quality just keeps going down and down and down. Now, they're nowhere near that yet, but hey, will they turn around in 2025? Well, you think people have gone crazy in the United States? Well, guess what? Well, it looks like there's a looming oil glut. Too much oil out there. Of course, it's good news for us. We get cheaper gasoline, but they're showing how, well, a lot of these impoverished nations that sell oil to make money, they're going to go out. Poor old Putin, how's he going to supply his war when the price of oil's down and the Europeans aren't buying it from him anymore? They're buying it from us, which made our economy go booming. But that's all that poor old Russia has is oil and gas. They're still the largest oil fields in northern Siberia in the world. They're humongous, right? So they got all this energy, but that's all they have. And if the price goes down too much, then there goes their profit. With everybody talking green, oh, we don't want to use that stuff anymore, la, 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 la. Then everybody's worried about it. And to some extent, the green stuff must be slowing it down a bit. Solar panels, to some extent, they're using some energy, right? They're all kind of crapping in their pants. They say, and I quote, next year, the global oil supply is expected to exceed demand by an average of 1.2 million barrels per day. But let's take all this with a grain of salt. In 2023, the world consumed 100.2 million barrels a day. Right? Oh, they might have an oversupply of 1 million barrels a day, right? That's like 1% of what's used. It's nothing, you know? They always have these knee-jerk reactions because they try to make it scary. Oh, look, the supply is more than the demand. It's 1%, baby. A lot of times these guys forecast in the future there is a glut, but if that's all they're forecasting, 1%, that's not even statistically significant. Yeah, take a lot of the stuff with a grain of salt. You know, maybe they're trying to make it look like it's going to be better for us, but you know the oil company's always going to charge us more money. Or, as in the case of California, they'll keep raising the tax on it, so you got to pay more anyway. Let's face it, in this country, the way it's going is you either pay or you pay. You either pay Peter or Paul, but you're still paying. Now, here's a funny one. Tesla updated its summon feature where the guy pulls the car and the car comes to you. Well, check this out. His Tesla is stuck between two buildings with his real tiny driveway going in. He drove it in there. Well, it drove itself in there when the original features, then they updated the bring it to you feature, and now It can't get it out. Too close, can't move, right? Well, the original software let it park in there. That's why he used it, because it's a tiny space and he couldn't get out of the car because the door each side is one house on one on the other. Now, they finally got in by breaking into it, opening the trunk, climbing through the back seat, right? But he can no longer use that space because it won't go in. And it wouldn't come out. He had to manually climb inside and drive the thing out, right? You never think of the ramifications when you start changing software, where this guy found out, look what happened, it's garbage. He took it back to Tesla, and they can't make it go into this cute little space anymore because the software is different. And these guys are software guys that go, oh, look, we got all these great ideas. Then in the real world, oops, well, we didn't think of that. What the heck? Things are even worse in Germany. In Germany, they have a parking law proposal that could have drivers banned from backing out of parking spaces. Well, there's too many accidents with people backing out of parking, so we must make it illegal to back out of the parking spaces. A Green Party member in Germany suggested that reversing when parking should be banned to meet road safety goals. You must ban backing up because people are running people over. Well, they have this idea they call Vision Zero. They want to have 0 road fatalities by 2050. Good luck on that one. Now, I don't know what they're whining about in Germany, because in all of the European Union, the entire conglomeration of countries, there were 19,800 road deaths last year, okay? 19,000 for all of Europe. There were 40,990 Americans killed in road fatalities. The United States is like 335 million. Europe is 448 million. So they got more people, but they have a whole bunch less of traffic deaths. So, hey, if these Germans are worried about road fatalities there, hey, better not come to the United States. Hey, if everyone backed into the parking space, then when you go out, you could see better, right? But you're still backing up in the parking space. You might crush somebody then. Who knows? What are they going to ban reverse on cars? We will take out the reverse gears and they can only go forward. Well, another planned electric motorcycle is in the works, and it makes me wonder. All these electric motorcycle companies going out of business. Harley Davidson sold a handful of theirs each year. Nobody wants the stupid things, right? Royal Enfield, if you know anything about motorcycle history, that was a British company, made motorcycles for a long time, from the early 1900s. Well, they have one called the Flying Flea. I can't comprehend it myself, because 2027, they're going to start making these things. Come on now. Now, I could understand in India. They make them and sell them there. People don't go long distances. They have tiny little mopeds, tiny motorcycles. So an electric one that can go in town is perfectly fine. The problem with electric motorcycles are electric motors are very efficient at low speeds. They stink at high speeds. The higher they spin, the higher the RPMs, the less efficient they are, the less far they can go when they travel from a given amount of electricity in the battery that they have. Fine when you're in town going 20, 30 miles an hour and you have regenerative braking. I've seen someone go 165, 175 miles in town only, going 20 to 30 miles an hour. Take them out on the highway, going 60, 70 miles an hour. They generally can go maybe 40, 50 miles, and they run out of electricity. So maybe in India this Flying Flea will work, but the rest of the world, even then, they say they're not even going to have it out until next couple of years, 2027. We're still in 2024. Almost the end of it, but still. It's a long way in the future. Well, is artificial intelligence taking over? Well, the CEO of Perplexity says his company will give them services to replace the striking New York Times staff. I guess the New York Times tech workers are on strike. Who reads the freaking papers anymore anyway? And they're always, oh, they're so important. They're so blah, blah, blah. Hardly anybody pays attention to those people anymore. They used to always have their bloated image of themselves. The news that's fit to print, blah, blah, blah. Well, now the tech strikers aren't working. The tech guy says, hey, why not use my artificial intelligence? You might not even need these people. They go away, hey, you can get rid of half their jobs using computers. Now, there is a big problem with artificial intelligence, and it's two things. One, it's artificial, it's not real. And two, whoever controls it is actually controlling the news. And it is not all that good many times. For example, the other day, we were thinking about taking a trip to New Mexico, and I'm reading this thing about, back in the 60s at the Seattle World Fair, there was this guy who was selling quarter-acre plots in New Mexico for like $50 a piece. and he sold like 100,000 of them or something. And then he got caught for scamming. So I thought, hey, well, this is interesting. Let's look the information up, right? So I look it up. Artificial intelligence says, I'm sorry, there's very little information on this, right? So I start researching myself and find out, yeah, it was a real guy, and he went to court and lost. And then a second time, he was even defended by F. Lee Bailey. He was a defense attorney from some pretty sleazy people, actually. You know, guys conning people out of this money. But artificial intelligence, I'm sorry, there's not very much information. There was all kinds of information. I looked it up, found where the plots of land in New Mexico was, what the guy's name was, how he had set it up in the World's Fair, having a little thing outside the gates where him and salesmen were hawking this property to people dirt cheap. So don't think artificial intelligence is all that great. But in this case, if it gets rid of tech workers at the New York Times, I really don't care. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.